could be a burial at sea. There might be a very great reason for that. But we would keep the body together versus scattering the body.
And may I ask a question of the Imam? What education do you need before you become an Imam?
I would say that would vary from place to place. In the modern practice, for the most part, it's going to university and learning certain things. But in the classical Islam, what I mean by that is in the way that was practiced by the Prophet Muhammad and his immediate followers. The term Imam was not a priestly form. Is basically the only thing he did was lead prayer, lead the ritual prayer, right? And so they would choose the person to lead the ritual prayer, the person who had more knowledge of the Quran, because in the Muslim ritual prayer, the Quran is recited. The first chapter is recited, and other chapters are also added to that, right? So they say, look, the person who knows more of the text, that person is more qualified to lead the prayer.
So how are you chosen to be?
And again, I would say it varies from place to place. In the United States, mostly the Islamic centers are hiring people. Just as in any other institution, they're hiring people who attended institutions that they recognize that are producing graduates that are able to interpret the religion and in the circumstances. But in other places, it's government appointed. And in many places in the Muslim world, the government has a religious affairs department, and they appoint the imams to lead the prayers and to give the Friday sermon. They're government appointed, and one of the few places that doesn't that is Indonesia. Indonesia, the imams there are not government appointed. One of the few places in the Islamic world. So there, the imams can say whatever they want, for the most part. For the most part. You had your hand for a while.
When Muslims pray 5 times a day, are your prayers directed to Muhammad or to God?
Good question. I love the question. The question, if you didn't hear her, the question was, when Muslims pray, are their prayers directed towards Muhammad or towards God? The answer is directed towards God.
Directed to God.
Towards God, yes. Muhammad is not, actually one of the, let me share this story from the Prophet Muhammad's life. This is why you should buy this book. They should pay me. They should get a copy. They should pay me. I should get a commission from this. So after the Prophet Muhammad died, people didn't believe it. They were just in a state of, just like us when our relatives die, we sort of go crazy a little bit. So people didn't believe that the Prophet Muhammad had died. And one of his companions, he says, Muhammad, no, he's not dead. He's like Moses. Moses went up to the mountain for 40 days. He'll be back after about a month or so. Seriously, I'm speaking in an animated way, but that's really what happened. So the Prophet's good friend and father-in-law, Abu Bakr, he gives a speech, perhaps on a podium like this, and he says, know that Muhammad is dead and will never come back. Any who worships Muhammad, Muhammad is dead and will never come back. But those who worship God know that God is alive and never dies. So there is a strong sense of worship of God that's given within the religion, not of Muhammad. Muhammad is respected as God's prophet, God's messenger, but not as God.
Excuse me, Pastor Evan. In the Quran, we believe that it's all God's words. Would you agree that the Old Testament is the one, the authentic, and all the additions could have some different things that are not confirmed? I don't know if I'm expressing right. Like you have different books, In the Quran, it's one book. Wherever you find it in the whole world, it's the same book, and there's no changes.
So that's a good question. She's asking about being one book versus. I'm sorry.
Can you repeat the
Can you repeat the
question?
question?
Not as well as it was asked, but basically, I think I'm hearing that the Quran is one book, whereas what we call the Bible is a whole library of books. And so how can we know that that's authentically God?
And changes too. Like the Old Testament has, and then the other books has different things. But the Quran is the Quran, the same information all over the world. It's like one book, identical.
Yeah. So it's important for us to recognize, at least as Catholics or Christians, that there's lots of different types of writings. There's poetry, there can be history, there can be songs. All of that is contained within the scriptures. But it was also a process of discernment for the early church